So we can, let's see what we're going to need today. Today we need our 2 blocks, our massage ball, our yoga strap. You're always welcome to have a blanket for comfort or adapting a pose. And then a chair always is an option. Many of the things that we do can be done from a chair. So anytime if you feel like you need one or you'd like one, then have that handy, especially when we get started in the beginning. If being seated on the floor isn't comfortable for you or unavailable to you. So we'll start with this little reading because we are in the Jewish tradition. We are in the period of the Omer, which may be familiar to some of you, maybe kind of familiar, maybe super familiar, or maybe you've never ever heard of it. So I want to read this little piece of writing from a rabbi that I study with, Rabbi Jill Zimmerman. She's amazing. According to Jewish tradition, we count the 49 days from the Exodus, so from Passover, until we arrive at Mount Sinai on Shavuot. It is there that we receive the Torah, or wisdom. This 49-day period was originally rooted in the spring harvest, as an Omer is a measure of grain. Detaching from its agricultural roots, counting the Omer became known as a season of soul refinement. So 49 days of just digging deep and just refining your soul, uncovering things that you can learn about yourself, uncovering ways that you can continue breaking free from this constriction and sense of slavery into more of a sense of freedom. We dust off the shackles of all that crushes our spirits and ready ourselves to receive the wisdom that comes through the process. And so the key word here is process, right? So we don't just arrive from A to B without any effort. We go on the journey through the wilderness for the wilderness, right? Internal wilderness or external wilderness for 49 days until we reach the place where we receive not just external wisdom, historically, right? Receiving the Torah, but also receiving that internal wisdom that is always there. It's always inside of us, available when we slow down and we listen and we open our hearts and our minds. So my favorite poet, Alden Solovy, has a beautiful poem called The Season of Counting. This season of counting days and nights, of counting the space between slavery of the body and freedom of the soul. This is the season of seeing earth and sky, of seeing renewal in the land and renewal in our hearts. This is the season of journeying, of inner journeys and outer journeys, taking us places that need us, taking us places that we need. This is the season of counting, the season of joyous anticipation, of wondrous waiting, in devotion and awe for our most precious gift, the gift that binds our hearts to each other across the millennia, the gift that binds our soul to God's holy word. So just allowing those words to settle and finding a comfortable position to just become more embodied, more aware of your body in this moment as it is seated. You might allow your eyes to softly close or gaze downward. You might imagine yourself, your body, and your soul as a seed planted in the fertile ground of wisdom. feeling all that you hold within, all the potential for growth. All of the deep wisdom, ancestral wisdom that has come through the millennia, that lives within you, that maybe you are aware of, and maybe there's so much there that is still to be uncovered and received. Allow your breath to be more intentional, and imagine that the breath is the tilling of the soil. As you breathe in through your nose, allow your belly to expand, and that expansion to move into the ribs and heart area. And as you softly exhale through pursed lips, let that exhale be slow and soft and a little longer than the inhale. If your mind has begun to travel off, bring your attention back. Allow breath and awareness to tend to your soul. Allow your body to surrender a little more into gravity, to allow a softening, another level of softening to happen in the shoulders and the face, in your hands, in your lower body, softening in order to receive. We are going to focus today on our spinal mobility, the sense of freedom that we experience in all of the movements, and also just being with compassion with the places in our body that feel more constricted, and allowing our compassion and our love and tenderness to be breathed into those spaces as well. We'll start with an open twist. So you have a couple of options for this. If you're in a chair, you can stay in the chair, and I'm going to show you that option. A block under the foot is really helpful for that. So an open twist from the chair. Let's start with the left foot on the block. If you're on the floor, you're simply going to bring your left foot in close to your body like so, with the knee out. And I'll come back to the floor in a second. So if you're on a chair, you've got your left foot on the floor. And then you'll bring the back of your hand to the inside of your left knee and activate your core. So you're going to pull your belly in and then twist, actually an open twist. So rather than closing off and constricting, we're going to twist so that the heart and chest can be open. At the same time, you're pulling in on the core. If you're in a chair, I'm going to float down here to the floor. If you're in a chair, you've got your left foot close to your body and your right foot pulled in, the right knee is bent. And then you're going to take your right elbow inside your knee, and you're going to be open twisting to the other side actually. So as you pull in on the belly, you're going to twist and open. So you'll feel an activation in the core, even as you're twisting through the spine. Extend your spine, keep it long. If you're in a chair, you're holding onto the back of your chair. And then return to center. And then those on the floor are just going to switch position. If you're in a chair, you're just going to move your block over to the other side, so the block is under your right foot this time. And you can bring your back of your right hand to the inside of your knee, so you're sitting up nice and tall. Core is pulled in, and then open twist. If you're seated in a chair, you're twisting to the left. If you're seated on the floor, you're twisting to the right. So you've also got a little arm activation here as well. Let's take a couple more breaths. And release. Good. If you're seated on the floor, you can sit cross-legged if you'd like. We're just going to work on our neck. So let's all bring the chin toward the chest and just notice what's happening in your neck this morning. Maybe a little side-to-side movement. And then start to roll your right ear toward your right shoulder. Just let the weight of your head take you into the stretch. So no force here. Tilt your chin back slightly and get into that front of the left side of your neck. And then roll your chin towards your chest. And let's take it to the other side, so the left ear is directly over the left shoulder. Good. Tilt your chin up just a little bit. Get into the front of that right side of the neck. Roll your chin toward your chest. Good. And then look straight ahead. And without moving the shoulders, just turn your head over your right shoulder like you're going to gaze behind you. Very slowly, and then turn to look over your left shoulder. And do that on your own a few times. Just nice, soft, deep breaths, exploring the range of motion in your neck. And back to center. Let's lift those shoulders up toward the ears and back and down. Nice and slow. So start to spread those shoulder blades apart and kind of reach out in front of your knees so you really feel that separation of the scapula. And as you do that, make sure you drop your shoulders away from your ears. They like to kind of creep up there when we spread the shoulder blades. So really drop the shoulders down, then spread the shoulders apart from each other and stretch the space behind your heart and breathe in to that space. And then start to shrug the shoulders up and then bring them back and down, and then just hold that position and take a breath or two here. So we're really expanding across the chest and the collarbones. And then drop those shoulders even more and just make that connect those movements. So really big shoulder circles. Notice any crinkling or crackling or movement or sounds that are in there. And then pause when you're ready and reverse your circles, making that range of motion as full as possible. So really allowing the shoulders to rise up really high, come forward really far, and drop down. Good. And then just shake it out. Do whatever you need to do to release that effort. Let's come onto our backs now. We're going to work with our straps to just open up the legs for our standing poses today. We have just a couple of standing poses, and I want to get into the inner thighs especially. So you're laying on your back with your knees bent, and have your strap nearby, but just before we start using the strap, bring your fingertips to your frontal hip bones and just start to do some pelvic tilting. So just feeling the movement as you tuck your tailbone slightly and press your lower back into the floor without lifting your buns off the floor though. So just pressing lower back in and then creating a little arch, a little space between your lower back and the floor or your mat. And just go back and forth, just saying good morning to this lower back area, the hips. And just listening for the wisdom of your body. Listen for any messages that it wants to share with you as you do this. And notice too that as you move the hips forward and back, your whole spine is also moving in response. Your head will move a little bit on the mat, noticing that any work we do in one part of the body affects all the other parts. Nothing is separated. The work we do with our soul is connected to our body. The work we do in our body is connected to the soul, to our emotional self. Good. And then let that movement come to a pause. Just really feel the weight of your lower back and your hips sinking into your mat. And now we'll take the strap. Let's bring the strap around the bottom of the right foot. Your left leg can be straight or bent. So, if you haven't been doing a lot of yoga the last couple of weeks, or if this is not a shape you've been in for a while, be really gentle. You might keep your left knee bent. Just noticing what happens if you do straighten that left leg. Make sure it's comfortable on your back. And then shimmy the shoulders down away from your ears and flex your right foot. So wherever you're at with this is fine. Just breathe into whatever is happening in the back of the right leg. Soften your jaw. Point your toes towards your nose. It's okay if your knee needs to be a little bit bent here. We're looking for an opening, some space to be created in the back of the leg. You might draw some circles now on the ceiling or toward the sky using your straps to help guide your leg. You can go the other direction. Good. We're going to pause back at center and hold both straps with your right hand and bring your left hand back to the frontal hip bones on your left side. Pull your navel in. So I want you to really, like you're going to do a sit-up or a crunch, and keep that engagement in the lower belly, and then start to open the leg out to the side. If your hip starts to float up, keep the movement a little smaller and add a little bend to your right knee, because we're looking for an opening in the inside of the right thigh. Now you're also using some upper body strength here to help support your leg. Breathe here. On your next exhale, go ahead and bring the leg back up to center really slowly. And then take the straps in your left hand and allow the leg to begin to cross over the body in the other direction. No need to turn this into a twist. Really just looking for an outer hip and leg stretch. Keep flexing your right foot and pressing the foot into the strap. As soon as you press the foot and leg into the strap, you're going to create space in the hip joint. Lots of room for circulation. And then come back up to center. Go ahead and release the strap and keep your knee in close to your body. So just hug your knee toward your rib cage or toward your chest and do some ankle rotations. Get some blood flow back into that foot and lower leg. And you might even hold onto the shin and create a little compression now and make some circles with your knee. So I talked about this a couple of weeks ago during Passover, but we honor the blessing of both the constriction and the freedom. And in yoga, we create it on purpose. We create compression through our forward fold and things like this, which then creates the opening, allows the opening to be even more beneficial. So go ahead and straighten your leg now along the floor. So both legs are flat on the floor. And just compare the right side to the left side. Good. We're going to change to the left side. So either bending or keeping the right leg straight. I do like to wrap the strap around my hands so that I don't have to grip the strap so tightly. And just notice where you feel a stretch, where the leg is in space here. Flex the left foot and point your toes toward your nose. And breathe. And start to draw some circles. Small circles is fine. And the slower you go, the more you'll notice. Change direction. Keep breathing. Pause at center and hold the straps in your left hand. Bring your right hand to your right frontal hip bones. Pull your belly in and start to open the leg out to the side. Remember that you can bend your knee a little if you need to, because what we really care about is the inner thigh opening. Keep your right leg active and your glutes of the right leg as much on the mat as possible. As you exhale, start to bring the leg back up to center. Change hands with your straps and start to cross over the body. Just until you feel a stretch, wherever that is. And then remember to extend the leg as if you're pressing or kicking into your strap to create space in the hip joint. Keep flexing the foot. The more you flex your foot, the more you're going to feel in your leg as a stretch. Start to bring your leg back through center. Release your strap and hug your knee now in toward your outer rib cage on that left side. Bring some movement to the ankle. Good. And then let your hands help guide your knee in circles. And then bring your leg down to meet your other one. So you can extend both legs. Just notice the sensations you're feeling. And then bend your knees and bring your feet back to the floor. We'll just take a gentle stretch or a gentle twist to each side. So you can shift your hips over to the right a few inches and let your knees fall to the left. And always know you can use a block under your knees or between your knees. Take a really gentle twist. So if you really need to scooch your hips way over to the right to create less of a torque in your lower back, please do that. We're going to open up the arms if that works for you. And let the weight of your lower body settle in. You can gaze over your right shoulder if that works for you. Allowing the twist to open up the spaces between the vertebrae. Pull your lower belly in and just lift the top knee first. And let's lift those hips up and shift over to the other side, bringing the knees over to the right, gazing over the left shoulder or arm. Noticing the range of motion in your spine as you go from one side to the other. Does one side feel more free? Do they feel equal? A lot is happening in your body, even in this gentle pose. This is part of the journey into the wisdom of your body, even though it doesn't look like a lot is happening. Engage your belly again and lift that top knee and then the bottom knee, and just square your hips on the floor again with your knees bent. And when you're ready, hug both knees into your chest this time. Maybe this time letting the knees open out to the sides and rocking from side to side, feeling the sacrum and lower back on the mat. Good. Bring those knees together. And bring the feet to the floor, and we're going to turn to the side slowly and press yourself up and leave your head really heavy. So I want your head to hang like a piece of ripe fruit on a branch, and so that the head is the last thing to come up. It's kind of different, right? So I learned this so many years ago, and it changed everything. So in the morning when I get out of bed, like all of us, a lot of us, not all of us, lead with our head like just use all your neck muscles first thing in the morning. And my teacher said, just use your hands, press yourself up, let that head hang as much as you can, as long as it doesn't hurt. And then, bloop, just let the head be the last thing that comes out. Makes a really big difference. We're going to switch over to hands and knees. So you can move your strap out of the way. And we'll come to our hands and knees for a little bit of cat and cow to keep exploring the spinal movement. So the wrist crease is underneath the shoulders. Your knees are underneath your hip crease, just about. And just start to explore the movement of the spine in cow and in cat. And take your time with this. Inhaling as the back comes into more of that hammock shape. And exhaling as the spine comes into more of a rainbow. If you have sensitive wrists, you can always come onto those knuckles, or even if your fingers want a little exercise, you can come to fingertips. And then we'll pause in tabletop, so the back is flat. And either with your hands on the floor, or you can even bring your forearms to the floor if you need to. We're going to extend the right leg back behind with the foot flexed and the core engaged. And very slowly, as we exhale, we're going to bring the knee toward the nose and the nose toward the knee. So we're coming into the cat shape with the spine and activating the belly and core. Nice and slow. You're going to inhale as you extend your leg. Exhale as you round. And at your own pace. So you follow the pace of your breath. We'll just do about 5 on each side, with the intention to strengthen the core in order to support the spine. And then release that one side if you're still working on the right side, and we'll do the left. When you extend your leg, make sure that you don't lift it too high. We don't want to create any stress in the lower back. We just want the leg to kick straight back. Let's do one more. Good. And open your knees really wide. If child's pose is comfortable for you, go ahead and take that. Always know you can put a blanket under your hips or even under your ankles, a block under your head, and release your effort here. We're going to come on up to standing. You'll want to have both of your blocks in front of you and your massage ball. And when we do our forward folds today, if you're protecting the lower back or need to be extra careful, you can use your blocks as a place to land. And if the blocks aren't high enough, you can use the seat of a chair, and when you come into your forward fold, just stop halfway down with a place to land so your back stays flat and your knees can stay bent. So just keep that in mind when we come to the forward folds. But first, let's massage our feet. So let's bring that massage ball right under the right foot and just give it a little rub down here, working on any sore spots that you might have. Choose a spot on that right foot to pause. Find a spot that needs a little extra attention, and just allow the knee to bend and the weight to gently melt over the ball. And just take a few breaths there. And then take that right foot off and bring the left foot onto the ball. And again, find a spot maybe you discovered that feels a little more tender or tight, and allow your foot to gently soften over the ball with your knee bent a little bit. And release. You can place your ball off to the side and come to mountain pose. So mountain pose, feet are about hip width apart, and that is about the distance of 2 fists together. If you were to bring them down and put them between your feet, it would be about that wide. Toes are pointed forward. We're going to inhale and reach up, and then exhale, bring the hands to the heart. Do that again. Inhale, reach up. This time you can exhale but clasp your hands. You can keep your hands clasped. Release your index fingers so they point to the sky, and squeeze your thighs. So squeeze the thighs, squeeze your glutes a little bit, and pull your belly in. And we're going to just lean over to one side. You can mirror me, reaching diagonally, breathing into the side of the ribs that are stretching. As you exhale, float back up. Good. Take another breath in. Exhale, float to the other side, reaching diagonally. So you've got lots of space, even on the side that's bent. You're not collapsing. You're reaching and extending. Exhale, come on up. Release your hands. Bring them behind you. And you can place your hands on your sacrum or right on the upper gluteus area. And drop your shoulders down. And then squeeze your elbows toward each other. Breathe into the front of the heart. And then squeezing the legs, just start to lean back a tiny bit while you squeeze your elbows together. Like you have like the size of a basketball or something, or maybe like a small beach ball between your elbows, squeezing and activating the back, opening through the front. Good, and release. Good, let's do shoulder circles. Good, we're going to inhale, reach up. And then this time, exhale, we're going to fold forward with a flat back, land where works for you. Let your head go. Or if you're coming just halfway down, if you want to keep your head and neck aligned with your rest of your spine, that is totally fine. This is the season of seeing the earth. Pull the belly in, start to come up with your flat back. Inhale, reach up. This is the season of seeing the sky. Hands to your heart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, dive forward again. Let your hands land wherever you need them to. This is the season of the renewal of land. Inhale, come up slowly. Inhale, arms are up. Exhale, hands to your heart. This is the season of renewal of our hearts. We'll do that a little faster. You can just follow along visually if you'd like. Inhale, reach up. The season of seeing the sky. Dive forward. Of seeing the earth. Inhale, reach up. And exhale, hands to your heart. One more time. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, dive forward. A season of renewal of the earth. Inhale, reach up. The season of renewing our hearts. And take a moment with your hands on your heart. palm over palm, standing on this place that is holy ground, the earth beneath you. We're going to come into a warrior two pose. So let's start with the right leg as our lead, our front leg. Left leg is back. And find your bent knee on the right side. Make sure your alignment is good for your knee, that you don't feel any pain or twinges, that you've got the knee tracking over your ankle or slightly behind. And then we're going to take an open palm warrior two. Drop the shoulders away from your ears and settle in here, connecting to the earth, to your mat. Drawing the tips of the shoulder blades together. This is the season of joyful anticipation of wisdom. Both external wisdom and internal wisdom. Bring your left hand to your heart and reach your right arm up. Breathe here, extend that arm, reach for the heavens. This is the time when we bind our heart through the millennia to the hearts that came before us. Come back to your warrior two with your palms up. And bring your hands to your heart at a prayer position. And then just slowly switch sides. So the left leg now will be your front leg. Coming into a warrior two that feels good for your knees and your lower body today. Pull your belly in. Open palms. In this position of awaiting joyously, awaiting in awe of the wisdom that is ready to just drop down or rise up. Bring your right hand to your heart and reach the left arm up, connecting, binding your heart with the hearts that came before you, the hearts that have brought their wisdom to you right now. Float the hands back to warrior two, palms up. And then bring the hands to prayer position at your heart. Good. And then we're going to step the feet together. Inhale, reach the arms up. And exhale, take another forward fold and release all your effort. Your knees can be as bent as you need them to be. Let the head go if you can, if you're bending all the way forward. Good. We're going to rise up to standing. And I'm going to show you the next thing we're going to do. So you have two options. If sitting on the floor, I think if sitting on the floor is not comfortable for you for a forward fold, I'm going to show you the option in a chair to start. I'll do both. So if you're doing a chair version of Paschimottanasana, which is just a straight-legged forward fold, you're going to scoot to the edge of your chair. Not too far, we don't want to slip off, so you want to feel your sits bones on the chair. And your legs can be straight or just a little bent. I actually recommend a little bent with your heels digging into the floor. And you're going to pull your belly in and start to come forward just until you feel a stretch in the back of the body. And that includes your upper back. This is a whole back body stretch. You can come forward as much as you want. And you can always use blocks too to help you land as deeply as you're comfortable. So we don't want to feel any pulling in the lower back. We really want to feel a stretch in the muscles of the legs, but no pain or pulling in that lower back. Keep pulling your belly in. From a seated position, it's the same idea. You can keep your knees a little bit bent if you'd like. You're going to pull the navel in. You're going to keep your heart open and shift forward. with your gaze down towards your knees or towards your belly. You can use blocks if you need to, or even a strap. You can bring a strap around your bottom of your feet to pull yourself forward. And no force here. We really just want to open up the back of the body. We'll take one more breath. Our attention is on the present. Now, as you come out of it, engage your belly. Use your hands to help press you up, either your hands on your legs or on the floor. And then legs will be straight. And then bring your hands behind you. So hands are going to touch the chair behind you, or fingertips will touch the floor. And we're going to drop the shoulders, open the heart, and gaze up. You don't need to drop your head back. Just lift your chin slightly, gaze up into staff pose. So our intention is to receive. We'll take this one more time so our attention is on the present. We're going to go forward, find your forward fold that works for you. Engaging the belly, press with your hands to come back up with your hands behind you into staff pose. Intention to receive. And then release. So if you're in a chair, you can stay there. We're going to take another twist, but this time it'll be a closed twist. So instead of an open twist, we're going to create a little more compression in the midsection. So let's all twist to the same side this time. So if you're seated on the floor, bring your right foot close to your body and then hug your knee. And we are all going to reach back behind with the right hand and gaze over the right shoulder. If you're in a chair, you can just keep your feet where they are. And everybody now focus on the crown of your head. And imagine you have a little string attached to the crown of your head that is gently pulling you upward toward the heavens. As you extend upward, at the same time you feel a string on each one of your sits bones, pulling your lower body down, grounding you into your mat or your chair. Good. We're going to slowly return to center and then take the second side. And then slowly return back to center again. If you are on a chair, this is a time where you could come to the floor if you'd like. We will come to our backs. With the knees bent and the feet on the floor. Let's take a figure 4 stretch just to release those hips. So the right ankle will come over the left thigh. And then you can hold on to the back of your left leg, either with your hands, or you can use a strap to extend your arms a bit. Let's take 3 more breaths on this side. Where are your shoulders right now? Could they come down a little bit away from your ears? Let's release this side. And when you're ready, move over to the other. Three more breaths. When you're complete, you can release this side. Take any other shapes that your body might need before coming into your final resting pose, Shavasana. Take a minute or so to listen to your body. What does it need? It's as if we have journeyed through the wilderness of our bodies during this practice, that our yoga practice has been a microcosm of that 49-day journey of gathering nuggets of wisdom and insight until we come on that last day to Mount Sinai, to the place where we receive. And as your body settles into Shavasana, into rest, invite the body to be open. Invite the heart and the mind to be open as your palms are turned up and your face softens and your weight releases into gravity. Feel yourself ready to receive. Feel yourself one step closer to receiving whatever wisdom is there for you. This is the season of journeying, of inner journeys and outer journeys, taking us places that need us, taking us places that we need. Where are the places that need you? Where are the places that you need? Can you dust off the shackles of limitation and step into your places? nefesh kol chai v'ruach kol besarish. Praised are you, Adonai, sovereign of the universe, in whose hand is every living soul and the breath of humankind. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher be'ado nefesh kol chai v'ruach kol besarish. Praised are you, Adonai, sovereign of the universe, in whose hand is every living soul and the breath of humankind, and the breath of humankind. Once again, noticing the weight of your body being held by gravity, being held by this holy ground, this sacred space you have created with your practice. Notice the light coming through the eyelids and the breath moving through the nostrils. And taking your time, when you're ready, roll to your side and letting your head be very heavy. And the last thing that comes up, press yourself up into a seated position. Take your time. And allow your hands to settle at your heart, palm to palm, fingertips to fingertips. And we close our practice with this universal blessing. May all beings be happy. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be free. May all beings be loved. May all beings be safe, and may all beings have peace. May it be so. Ken yehi ratzon. Shalom.